Right? We left Birmingham with Brother Talal, who lives normally in Preston, but that night he's going to balik kampung dia dekat Banbury, so he will drop us off at Oxford finally, and so we are not going to call my wife to ask my wife to come and pick us up at Banbury. Alhamdulillah, we reached quite late at home at around 3. So one of my wife's option was actually a possibility, but then that would mean that I would have to call her or get the taxi or something. Upon reaching home, we went to sleep. The next morning, bangun fajar, bangun subuh, as we say, orang sini panggil fajar. Buka email, tengok, the email that Brother Ahmad promised to send arrived. Dah sampai Oxford baru nak sampai email. So as far as I'm concerned, this is, I'm off the hook. I thought, although I had intention to go, but I was there, but now I'm here. So that was the perfect excuse. I'm going to give him the perfect excuse, I thought. You see. So I then, the email is his friend, and I called his friend, and this was at 11 o'clock. The wedding is at 12 to 4 o'clock. I called the number of his friend, and the reason, you remember why I asked to send the email, because I did not want to speak to the Sultan of the day. The day before I don't want to speak to him, on the day of Raja Sahari, do not want to speak, and the month after definitely don't want to speak to him. This is the adab, right? Because I'm not his friend, I would say, saw him, he was a student of mine at Banbury Mosque, so, so I called, and the one who answered was Brother Ahmad. Subhanallah al-Azim, Subhanallah al-Azim, Subhanallah al-Azim. So this guy is very powerful. This guy is very powerful. He may be a mu'allaf. He's very powerful. He's very powerful. He may be an English Muslim, not a born Muslim, like Khairi here. But mashallah, very powerful. His karma, his what we call barakah among the ulama. Oh, he has something. Our ulama, our guru kata, watch out, there are people like that. And you will come across people like that. And when you do come across people like that, make sure you treat them properly. Seriously. So, I asked him, we went through this roundabout way so that I do not speak to you. What happened? Last night we had a stag party with my friends. And what party? S-T-A-G-R. Ini perkataan baru I just learned in my English vocabulary. I'm still learning my English. A bachelor's party. And they had it a bit rough, I think, with their friends. And I don't know what they were doing. Some zikir or something like that. Overdrive. And his friend terjatuh, accidentally left his mobile phone in the groom's house. Ya Allahu Akbar. Amazing. When I realized when he told me that, and I realized, that's it. This man is definitely. From that point onwards, I know I'm going to Birmingham. I'm not going to give any more excuse. And I said to him, but because I don't want to tell him I'm going to his wedding, because if I were to tell him that I'm going to go to his wedding, and remember, nature's finest gentleman, that if were I to tell him, then he's going to make the arrangement to try and get someone to connect this so-called sheikh or whatever, etc., at the train station. So no. So I then said what I couldn't say on the Wednesday clearly. Sorry, this is rare moments you can lie. Ni kau bagi bohong sunat. I'm sorry. I could not make it now. Any intention now? I could not make it now because I am now in Oxford. I was there, I tried to give him all the pathetic excuses and say, so I'm very sorry, Brother Ahmad. I could not make your wedding now. Now. So, niat tu. Ni lawyer punya bohong. Bahaya. Lawyer bohong. But anyway, the hikmah was that I then intended to go and get the train and pergi saja. I now have the card, I know where to go, with the card, with the RSVP and so on and so forth. So I just said to him, point blank range, I cannot count. What I couldn't do on the Wednesday, as a Malay. And he said, fine, okay. But please then say dua. So I got a kind of a long dua on the phone for him and so on and so forth. And fine, we said, goodbyes and salama and fatiha and all that, put the phone down. And then after that, I jumped out and said, Rafi, wake up! We are going! So we both then went to the train station. We took the train to Birmingham New Street. From Birmingham New Street, we took the taxi. We showed the taxi driver, this is the Kawin, and the driver went straight to this Mu'ad center. It's a Yemeni center. No problem. Connection tengok tu. Pergi mengajar on the Sheffield Masjid Yemeni. On the Saturday tu bagi excuse nak jumpa juga ulama-ulama Yemen datang on the Saturday kat Birmingham, ulama Yemen. And hari Sunday kahwin tu pula Masjid Yemen juga. The Yemeni connection there. It's too powerful to contemplate. So anyway, I arrived and I was about to enter the hall, and although there was no any sign, and then someone, just one young boy or young man like yourself here stopped me and said, "Oh, this is the entrance for the lady." So I said, "Oh, you remember, I'm in your class," and I said, I see, mashallah. And so then he took me and went into it, and we went to the wedding. So that was the story about this. The lesson of this story is very simple, and I will finish with this. And could we pass, so that we end this majlis with this qasida to all of you, that to the ladies as well, please, and we will sing together, inshallah. In the traditional, in the seminary tradition and in our qasidah marhaba marhabani, salawat. So there is this one qasidah written by a Yemeni Imam al It's called Qad Kafani Ilmu Rabbi. The song goes like this: Qad Kafani Ilmu Rabbi min su'ali wa ikhtiyari fadu'ai wa ibtihani shahidun li biftiqari. Okay, that's how the song goes. Now this is a very powerful qasida. Why? I will now translate this. So this is lesson. This is what we're reading. This is our matan now. Although a real big digression from Ayyuhal Walad, which we'll have inshallah after this break, after the Asr inshallah. Now, who has Arabic here? I don't want to put you on the spot, of course, but just so that I want, those of you who studied Arabic, you've gone to sekolah agama kat Malaysia ke, you've gone to your asrama penuh and all that brilliant KBSM education for nothing. No. You must apply it. So let's read this together. This is a wonderful poem which we sing by Imam Haddad. And Imam Haddad is one of these great Shafi'i Imams from Hadramaut. And he says, Qad kafani ilmu rabbi. The verb is kafani. Ilmu rabbi is the subject, the fa'il. The knowledge of my Lord, ilmu rabbi, yani ilmu min al-azal. Ilmu Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from eternity of my Lord, Qad kafani is enough for me. What does that mean? That means, how do you know when the manifestation of Allah's ilm? When it happens, of course. So in our case, when we miss the train to go to Oxford, 9:29, someone said, and 9:21 we arrived, we missed the train. That's when we realized that Allah had willed it. Allah had His irada willed it that we will exist originally in Allah's ilm, min al-azal. Tapi before that event happened, we did not have access to that knowledge. So that's why Qad kafani ilmu rabbi, the knowledge of my Lord is sufficient for me once that happens. Once you realize something bala has happened in this case, in my case, in that case, alamak bala tertinggal kereta api. But even when the bala happens, here Imam Haddad says, the knowledge of my Lord, to know that Allah